There are so many EV companies right now. Where do you go? Who do you choose? Who is going to end up on top? What is up, guys, and welcome to Broke Man Finance, a channel where we try to help you make good decisions with your hard-earned money. If this is your first time stopping by, then first of all, welcome. And I hope you consider subscribing as we try to bring you the latest and greatest when it comes to personal finance and stock market news. 2020 has been one hell of a year for electric vehicle companies or EV companies. I don't think the term SPAC has ever been used more than it has this past year, but are we going to see EV companies begin to chill out and that whole bubble begin to cool off, or are we going to stay on the same path of every new company that comes out is going to be the latest and greatest and just take our money? That's hard to say because we keep looking for the next Tesla, and a lot of us have learned really hard lessons this year when it comes to dumping money into a speculative stock like EV companies are now. They have a lot of potential, but who knows who's going to end up in that top tier, only to see those share prices tumble. A stock's price can be filled with a lot of emotion and a lot of hype. So make sure you do your due diligence moving into the future, because a lot of people got burned this year just dumping money into these stocks because random people were telling them it was a guaranteed win, and in reality it wasn't. And if they would have done their due diligence, if they would have done their own research and formed their own opinions, they probably would have recognized that. And I'm guilty of this myself. Whenever NAT had their run, I don't even like saying that name because it just makes me nauseous. Everybody in the world was talking about NAT and how it was a guarantee. The oil tanker industry was just making bukus of money, and they were. But I did not do my due diligence, because if I would have recognized what I eventually recognized, and the fact that they were not going to make as much money and that share price was not going to go up as much as people thought. Tesla went on a run this year that made their investors a stupid amount of money. Nikola had their run up and then their eventual demise with trucks fake rolling down a hill. CEO Thomas Healy was made one of the youngest billionaires in the world with his company Hyliion. Workhorse, I think Workhorse and their investors have been waiting on a contract now since like 1998. I don't know if the damn thing will ever be announced or not. Mercedes-Benz just announced their EV. Point is, there are so many EV companies right now. Where do you go? Who do you choose? Who is going to end up on top? In this video, we're going to talk about an EV company that I like, and I don't feel like the share price has a lot of that hype and emotion priced into it yet. They look to be undervalued right now, making that a potentially great buying opportunity. I'm also going to talk about another EV company that I'm not as excited about, and I'm going to stay away from for a while. It's not that I don't believe they don't have potential. They certainly do, but I'm just not digging it right now. Fisker has been in the EV game for a little while now with its luxury style hybrids that debuted in 2008 and was delivered on 2011. But the company saw some setbacks along with the name change in 2016 to Karma Automotive. Henrik Fisker, the founder, former chairman, former CEO of Fisker Automotive, retained the Fisker trademark and the Fisker logo and launched a new separate company called Fisker Incorporated, ticker symbol FSR. Fisker was listed in October of this year, 2020, after merging with Spartan Acquisition, and is currently trading for $15.55 at the time of this filming. Fisker has witnessed some great increases and are currently up nearly 64%. Fisker announced a manufacturing agreement with Magna International. Fisker will be using Magna's EV platform for its SUV, giving it a realistic starting point beyond the design phase. Fisker's Ocean will have a starting price below $40,000 and an expected 350-mile range with its top battery options. Fisker has designed some pretty sleek vehicles for a very affordable price. Fisker also saw a jump in the share price when they announced a pre-order of 10,000 vehicles. But to reach that multi-billion-dollar profitability that it keeps talking about, it's going to need to take a lot more of these pre-orders. However, Fisker is not planning on delivering or producing any of these vehicles until late 2022. And if there are any delays in that time frame, you're looking now at 2023. That being one of the main reasons I'm staying away from Fisker right now. Again, I'm not saying Fisker doesn't have a world of potential. Maybe they end up being the next Tesla or in that top tier of EV companies. But right now, until they get closer to production time, I'm just not willing to put my money into it when I think there's some other companies that are closer to that production phase or having their products actually being used and tested by the general public. I'll reevaluate Fisker as time gets closer, but who knows how saturated this market's going to be, especially with SUVs, the way Ford and GM and all these other companies are really trying to get into the EV market as well. The EV SUV market could be very, very competitive. And I'm not saying again that they don't have potential. They certainly do, but everyone has potential right now in the EV market because it's such a wide open field. But it's going to stay very competitive. But for right now, Fisker, I'm staying away from Fisker right now, and it's a hold. Not saying there's anything wrong fundamentally with the company. It's just a hold for me right now until they put some cars out there and we see something more tangible. What's that? This just in? Workhorse is still waiting on a contract. Now, let's meet XL Fleet. XL Fleet is a hybrid powertrain producer. They were founded as XL Hybrids back in 2009 when the green transportation market looked very different than it does today. Over 1 decade and more than 140 million customer miles later, that mission continues. XL Fleet has become the undisputed leader in fleet electrification solutions for Class 2 through 6 commercial and municipal vehicles. The powertrains the XL Fleet produces are used to transition traditional gas-powered vehicles into hybrids on the assembly line. Their products are currently used in some Ford, GM, and Isuzu fleet trucks. The plug-in products XL Fleet supplies to outfit the Ford F-150, for example, reduces carbon emissions by 33%, the company says. XL Fleet is expected to go public this week after blank check company Pivotal Investments acquired the electric vehicle supplier. XL Fleet plans a fully electric system by 2022. It's coming public in a year where a flood of companies are coming public via SPAC deals. There's that word again. Especially electric vehicle producers and related companies. The company is projected to bring in $21 million of revenue this year, but is expected to grow that revenue to $647 million by 2023. If they can grow that revenue that substantially, that quick, that rate of growth is pretty substantial. So you can expect that same growth to be seen in that share price. Jim Cramer of Mad Money had this to say. We all love Jim. Well, sometimes. I've got to tell you, if XL Fleet can get close to hitting its forecast for 2022 or 2023, and we get some clarity on that relationship with Ford and the F-150, this stock is cheap. Darn cheap. XL Fleet would be trading at just 3.3 times its 2023 forecast. Pivotal was currently trading for $18.23 at the time of this filming, with a ticker of PIC. As news starts to spread, you can see the share price is beginning to move up, but anything under $22 to me is a buy. And expect a drop off after merger because historically that happens to most, so don't be surprised. I would be very suspect on going after this stock, especially if it hits $25 or $30. I would be very leery of that share price and would wait for a dip closer to the low 20s. I like XL Fleet right now more than I do a Fisker because they're already on the road. They're already being used. They're already being tested by the big dogs, not just some random small companies. You're talking about Ford, Isuzu, GM. They have action and not all speculation. The growth for any company really is speculation. You can say you're going to grow by this much at this time, but you really don't know until you're in that year and you're in that time frame. But their products are being used, they have a plan in place, and they have relationships with some of the biggest car manufacturers in the world. Now, some of these companies like a Ford or GM, they certainly have the capabilities to create their own electric system. They could create their own powertrains. They could probably do anything they want to with the vehicle. Now, will they? Who knows? And if they decided to do that, that could certainly damper the business of XL Fleet. But as long as XL Fleet continues to evolve with the market and the industry, then they should remain profitable. If they can get the fully electric system done by 2022, that's going to be an enormous profit potential for this company. But that's all I have. As always, please leave me a comment in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I hope those stocks stay green. I hope you stay safe, and I hope everyone has a Merry Christmas.